Hi there, Graham at Penguin Motors here with an update on what's on at the shop. Today we're going to talk briefly about a Crossflow, a V8 Rover engine, a Ford Pinto engine, a load more Pinto heads and a Ford Zephyr Zodiac straight 6. Caterham Crossflow. It's all together. In our last video we see us time up the camshaft. Not a great deal of work since then because most of the donkey work was already done. So all I've done is check the fitted length for the valve springs, put stem cells in, took the head down, put the rocker cover on. It's basically finished, ready for collection, unless my client David wants us to dyno test it. V8 Rover engine. This is the one out the 3.5 P6 Rover, the one that was on display at Earl's Court and Olympia and NEC and wherever Rover showed it back in the 70s. A little bit of progress since you last here. The block has now had new liners pressed into it and they've been bored to size, and the block has been decked to make a good flat perfect surface. Pistons are down here already nicely clean, ready for new rings. Next project, we've got a Ford Pinto head here. This is for my client Ross. Last year he brought me a kit car with running issues, Ford Pinto powered. Didn't go very well, in fact it only ran on 3 cylinders. We did a basic repair job, head off, checked it out, put new, I think we only re-ringed 1 piston, put head on, let the valves in, set the tappets, job done, and it went a lot better. He's now after an upgrade. He's purchased this cylinder head. It's already been modified. It's got bigger valves in it. It's the preferable injection head and it has been reworked, but it's got issues. Something happened to this head whilst it was out on track. And when they tried to remove the valves and the retainers, they couldn't. And if you look at some of the tips of the valves, I don't know if you can see that, that one is all, the tip of that valve is mushroomed and beaten up. Whereas it should look more like that. We're going to strip the valves out, work out what we need to do, put it back together, fit a mild cam, and we'll probably put this head on my dyno mule engine and time the cam up in the dyno so he can take the cam away, already dialed in, ready to drop on his car. Right, what we've got here is a bunch of Pinto heads. We're going to do a little bit of fun here. We're going to do a little bit of testing. Everybody in the world knows that an injection Pinto head is better than a non-injection one. And indeed, as standard engines, the injection engine makes more power. But it also has other improvements. It has a better fuel system, it has a better ignition system, it has a better intake manifold. Yes, the head's better, but how much? I have flow tested heads. I know the injection head flows more air. But again, how much? So what we're going to do, we're going to do a back-to-back test. We're going to run a bog standard unmodified head. We're going to run a bog standard unmodified injection head. And I'm going to do a few basic mods to a standard head to see if I can max injection power. And why would we want to do that? Because these days injection heads command a hefty price, and if we can uprate the standard head for not a lot of money, it's cheaper to uprate the cheap standard head than it is by an injection. What we've got here is a engine that's destined for a Mach 2 Ford Zephyr, or it could be a Zodiac, Zephyr Zodiac of different trim levels. But it's a good friend of mine, and in fact my MOT tester is going in his car. It's a straight 6 from the 1950s. I believe Ford made them up to the early 70s. It's 2,500cc. It's quite an old school engine. They didn't make much power. From memory, they came from Ford in either a 2.2 or a 2.5 litre capacity. But I think the most powerful variants were only around 120 horsepower, with most of them being around 100. His owner's hoping for 150. Which, to be honest, I think is a lot given the engine, but we shall see. It's been rebored and it's going to have oversized Volvo pistons, which will increase its capacity. We're also going to go down to the floor here now. We're going to take the iron straight 6 crankshaft and we're going to stroke it. We're going to use smaller bearings and move the crank pins out to make the pistons move up and down further, thus increasing the engine capacity. With the oversized pistons and the stroking, we're going to end up with a capacity of around 2,900cc as opposed to 2.5. We've also got a modified head to go on there. The head's already been modified. The combustion chamber's been opened out. The ports reworked and reshaped. I'm told it was done by an ex-Bill Blidestone engineer. So it should be good. But I've had it on our flow bench and the flow numbers aren't great. It doesn't flow much air. But it's typical of a kind of design from the period in that if you look at the head, it's only got 3 inlet ports for 6 cylinders. That's not very efficient. And the exhaust ports are small, square, and from the factory, they didn't actually have a manifold at all. They just had a pipe that ran along the length. A horribly, horribly inefficient design. I have flow tested this head. It is a big improvement over the way Ford made it, but I'm hoping I can rework it and improve it a bit more. Quite certainly these engines are capable of the power output the owner would like, but that's with a radical racing cam. I'm trying to get that power without a radical cam.